what has occurred.
At the moment as well, let's listen into Richard Marles.
Work of Optus, and they are working to identify precisely the fault and the process by which it can be rectified. We have been particularly concerned as a government in relation to critical services and infrastructure which use the Optus network. The CEO has assured me that teams from Optus are working with those critical services to troubleshoot this as best they can to ensure those services are able to manage in this circumstance. Obviously, it is fundamental that Optus is transparent and prompt in the way in which it is communicating with its customers in relation to the way in which their services have been disrupted. We are focused on the impact on government services, and particularly in respect of keeping people safe, and that goes to the O network. The Minister for Communications, Michelle Rowland, has been in contact with other telecommunications providers from very early hours of this morning to ensure that the impact of this outage on the O service is minimised. There is an impact, particularly for those using landlines on the Optus network, but for those using mobile phones and other services, there has been significant work done in minimising the impact so that there is increased or as available access to the O service as is possible. Keeping Australians safe is the focus of the government's actions here. We will continue to monitor this situation very closely. We have offered all the assistance that we can provide to Optus in rectifying this situation, but this continues obviously to be a matter which is ongoing, and we do clearly encourage Optus to be communicating with their customers about the progress of this issue.
So just on the critical impact, what impact is the outage having, particularly on government departments such as your own? Is it having any impact on defence as such?
Look, I don't have advice that it's having an impact on defence. We are first and foremost focused on those immediate emergency services and on keeping people safe, and that's why we have been very focused on the O services, but we are looking about the impact across government.
Is there a way that ACMA or the Federal Government Communications Department can direct Telstra to help divert landline Optus 000 calls through the Telstra network at all? Is there any way of doing that?
I don't know the answer to that question in terms of what the technical feasibility of that is. We have the Communications Minister has been speaking with ACMA and has been speaking with other telecommunications providers from the very earliest hours of this morning to see the minimisation of the impact of this outage on access to the O service. So whatever can be done is being done. And we are very concerned about this, obviously, and the primary issue here is to be working with Optus itself to have their issues rectified as quickly as they can.
On cost of living, which you mentioned before in regards to the interest rates obviously went up yesterday, there's been a study that came out overnight that said you now need 3 average incomes to buy the price house in Australia. What are you actually doing to help people who can't afford to stay in their homes, especially when they fall off the mortgage cliff in the next year?
Well, we're very mindful of the impact of the interest rate decision yesterday, and we know that that is not easy news for mortgage holders, and it does have an impact on household budgets, as it has an impact on the budgets of obviously small businesses. We are, as I said, looking at a range of measures that we have been working on since the day that we came to government, $23 billion worth of measures which are focused on easing the cost of living pressures. We're also very mindful about housing and getting more houses built in this country. That's why we were so committed to getting the HAF through the Parliament and fulfilling the election commitment that we made at the last election to establish the HAF. That's why we have been investing more money in our agreements with the states to get the states moving in terms of seeing more houses constructed. Getting more housing stock out there is the most significant thing that we can do in terms of the question of housing prices.
All right, so the acting Prime Minister Richard Marles there weighing in on Optus, reiterating a lot from what we heard of the Minister, widespread effects this is having, this particular outage, and urging Optus to communicate and, of course, number one, fix this issue.